Hello friends, my name is Sarah. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is kind of a mini projects video slash what I'm packing to take on our vacation. Of course, when I say what I'm packing, I mean like knitting wise. I'm not sharing everything I'm packing because that would just be boring. To start, we'll show you, I think, projects that I'm not bringing with that I'm currently working on. The first one is very tangled and wrapped up. Is my Christmas sweater, which I was hoping to have had done by now, but I just have not had as much time to knit as I thought I did, or I was going to. But I am about this far away from being done with this first sleeve. About half of that will be stockinette and the other half ribbing. Tried it on this morning after I had done a few inches. Happy with how it's looking so far. We'll be happy when it's done though. I always hit this point in a project and start to get bored of it, but a couple of quick details. If you want more details, you can watch my other projects video and I will talk about it more when it's done. But this is using Drops Lima and I am not using a pattern. I'm using a vintage colorwork motif that I found, but I'm not using the pattern that, the vintage pattern that I found. So yes, Christmas sweater, it is in the works. It will be staying home because I'm not packing this bulkiness along with me. And plus I would probably get it done in the time waiting in the airport. So the next thing I've been working on is a hat for my mother. This is the 2x2 hat. Again, if you've been around for a minute, I've been making quite a few of these. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. There's also many other 2x2 ribbed hat patterns. I believe Petite Knit has one, Purls Soho has one. I'm pretty sure, Nordland has one. There's lots of 2x2 rib hats. So, I mean, you can kind of pick your like favorite pattern writer and select one of those. For me, I didn't really care. I just needed a quick little recipe for one. And so I've been using the free pattern by Gannon. So this is using leftover We Are Knitters Meri Fine from my cardigan. This yarn was gifted, just so you know. This was leftover and yeah, I brought it to my mom. She squished it, she put it against her forehead and said it was soft. So I will hopefully finish this soon. I probably will work on it some today while we have family over, but I don't think this is gonna get done before a trip. Who knows? I might take it with me to my pop-up on Saturday if there's any slow points. I'm not really sure how busy or slow it's gonna be, so I'll probably bring this with to knit on if I have any knitting time. Mom's hat in the works, not coming with me on vacation. That's all I've been knitting on. I still have not finished my tank top. I just haven't felt the motivation, so it's just sitting there needing still one armhole and a neck hole to be finished. Whatever. Hopefully when we get back from our trip, I'll get it done. Hopefully before the new year. That's the goal anyways. I actually do have one more project to show you, which isn't really a project. I mean, it is a project, but there's not a whole lot to show yet. I got the Pom Pom magazine. This is the crochet one. Sadly, Pom Pom is no longer going to be publishing physical copies. I don't know if they'll be doing digital copies or not, but I know for sure they're not going to be doing physical ones. And I've had my eye on this one for a while, so I ordered this one and pre-ordered the last edition that they've put out. And they just put out a sneak peek of one of the patterns that's in there, and it's got me pretty excited. So anyways, I have had my eyeballs on this pattern for a while now. It is so beautiful. Look at that. It's the Limonada, and it is so stunning. It's like made up of all these circle crochet motifs. So I am using a cotton yarn. This is Paint Box Cotton DK, and I am crocheting on 3.5 millimeter as of right now. I need to finish this motif, and measure it to see if it matches gauge. We will see. But I'm not finished with this circle yet. I still need to finish the border, but I wanted to, you know, get it on the hook and see what I thought. And it takes like 100 plus motifs, so I figured I should probably get started on it somewhat soon so I can crochet a bunch and maybe have it by summer, if not next summer. We'll see. But yeah, I started that. This will not be going with me, but I wanted to show it to you because yeah, I am excited to get started on that at some point. Okay, let's get into what I'm going to bring on our trip. And I'm gonna kind of share both the yarn projects and then also the little notions and other oddball things I'm gonna be bringing. We are going to be flying from Western Washington SeaTac Airport, and we are going to be going to California. However, because we are flying in a couple of days, and that couple of days happens to be after Thanksgiving, it's supposed to be like the busiest weekend of travel. So we are getting there painfully early. We are getting there 5 hours before our flight is supposed to take off. That's really early, especially with 3 children. So yeah, I'm hoping most of that won't be waiting in TSA. We have a TSA like checkout line thing that Josh like got us a reserved time for. So hopefully that works out and we can just wait in the airport and we can let the kids color and watch movies and I can knit, and yeah, that's the hope anyways. But I have flown with my knitting before, and I kind of am trying to plan out my projects a little bit better this time. Last time I brought something a little bit bigger and it was kind of a lot to deal with. I mean, I also didn't have kids with me though, so it was a little bit easier to deal with. On top of knitting in the airport and on the airplane, we are going to, I'm not gonna say it because my children are in the other room and it's a surprise. So there will be a lot of waiting in lines and things, so I wanted something to bring with me to knit on while waiting in said lines. So small projects, fingering weight projects. That's the key. That's what I'm planning. So my plan is to make some socks. I have this yarn. I started a sock last year with it. Bing! I made it through the heel of the first sock. It's too small. I've come to the conclusion I just have big feet and I need to stop thinking I have smaller feet and knit bigger socks. So I unwound it, and surprisingly this was my full leg that I had. This AB ball I got a whole leg out of. So yeah, I think I'm gonna knit my legs even a little bit longer, which I'm excited about. But yes, I'm using this yarn, and then I'm using Patton's Crochet sock for the heels, toe, and cuff. Now this is slightly heavier, but it doesn't really bother me since it is just in the heels, toes, and cuffs. So yeah, I'm using that. I'm currently casting on because I plan on doing 2 at a time socks, one like separately like I did with my last socks, and I loved it so much. So I'm figuring with fingering weight socks it might help me out a little bit more. So I've cast on the first sock. I have finished the 2x2 ribbed cuff. This time I have done a 72 stitch cast on. Normally I've done a 64, but again, determining that my feet are a little bit bigger. Now I could have gone up a needle size, but I really like a dense sock. I don't like there to be like any openness to the gauge whatsoever. I like it to be dense. So my determination was like, oh, well, I can go up, and I've tried going up needle size and I just don't like the fabric for socks. I have seen other people knit their socks that way, but for me, I like a nice dense one. So I've stuck with my size US 1, which is 2.25 millimeters, and I really like the fabric. So here we are, 72 stitches. I'm Bigfoot. It's fine. My feet aren't that big. I'm about a 9.5 US women's size, but for some reason when you're knitting socks it just seems enormous. So the first sock is cast on. I plan on casting on the second one. I have another set of needles here, and getting at least the cuff maybe done, or at least, you know, having the stitches like started and have the first couple of rows or rounds going for the airport. So yeah, the first project is fingering weight Christmas stripy socks. So these needles were a bit of a head scratcher for me. I wasn't sure because, like I said, I've gone on airplanes with my knitting before. I've never had any issues. But I've always used wood interchangeable. And I've seen people say they use metal interchangeables and they'll just stick them in their bags and, you know, it never gets questioned. But these are like the red lace ones where they can't detach, and I don't know, they've got like that metal core. To me, this seems kind of dangerous. Like, you could impale somebody with this little needle. Look at that thing. That could definitely go into somebody's heart, not gonna lie. And this metal cord could definitely strangle somebody. Which is a really dark thought, I know. But in my mind, I'm like, this is definitely gonna get taken. Because this is a weapon. But alas, it is not. I put out a thing on Instagram, which, thank you if you responded to my Instagram story, because my husband was like freaking me out. I was like pretty sure it should be okay. But he was like, you're going to get those taken away. You're not going to get your knitting back. Like, this is a terrible idea. I was like, well, I brought knitting before. He's like, you got away with bringing knitting needles? It's like, yeah, I was knitting right next to you. Do you not remember? No. I was like, okay, well, I did. So you got me stressed and worrying. So I put out a thing on Instagram like, hey, has anybody brought with them the ChiaoGoo red lace? And I had so many people DM me in like the first 50 minutes. I actually had to take the story down because there was an overwhelming amount of DMs. But everybody was really gracious in sending me confirmation that yes, they have brought these needles along with them or other metal interchangeables and have never had a problem. So if you need to take red lace ChiaoGoos with you, apparently they're a go. If for some reason I experience otherwise, I will let you know, but I highly doubt it'll be a problem. My husband's more stressed about it than I am. He just got in my head and I started to freak out too, but we're all good. It'll be fine, I'm sure. If not, I pull out the needles and I don't have socks to knit on, and that'll be just fine. But of course I can't just bring socks, so I've cast on a sweater. Now, if you've watched my recent projects video, I had talked about wanting to cast on either my brown cardigan or my blue raglan v-neck, which I think was Evermore. But I scrapped both of those. The reason is I had the white yarn and I didn't really want to bring it with because I didn't want it to get dirty and etc. But then I'm not ready. I don't need I don't need any of these sweaters, but I don't really like want that blue sweater immediately. I do want the cardigan, but the cardigan has a lot of like fiddly bits and a lot of pattern reading. I wanted something simple and I wanted something that I can like actually look forward to using soon. So I decided to cast on the white raglan. So this is what I've got so far. I don't plan on doing too much more to it before we go. I do plan on finishing this folded collar. I am doing a stockinette folded collar. So I'm gonna finish that up and then set up my raglan count and stitch markers so that way it's ready and I can just go round and round and round and round and round. I mean, there will be some short rows, but I love short rows. Short rows are fun. So yeah, this is using Drops Safran. It is 100% cotton. It's in this fabulous white colorway, which is color 72. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. This one, I currently have on some metal circulars, but once I am done with the neck part, I plan on switching over to my wood needles. The wood, I feel like, works better with the cotton for me. So I will be switching needles, and these are the wrong needles. I have these little wood ones, which I actually have a shorter one and a longer one, which makes it easier when you're in the smaller rounds, because I actually prefer to keep it on a small needle, like small circle. It's actually a lot easier to knit stuff when there's a bunch of stitches bunched on to a smaller needle just because you're not having to constantly like pull the needles or the stitches around. It's just like they're already there. They're working themselves around. So yeah, the shorter needle is just nicer to work with on my left hand and the longer on my right. So I do plan on bringing two cables though. I will have this one working by the time we go. I will have this lime green shorter one. I forget how many inches this is. It's yay big. Maybe, is that a foot? It's 12, so it's probably a 16-inch with the needles, though I don't know because this one's a shorty and the other one is long. But yeah, I plan on bringing that one and then also this one. So I will have those two, which I think this is a 24-inch with the needles, pretty sure. But just in case I am flying through all my things, I will be bringing a little cable extender with so I can try it on. So if I end up getting to splitting for sleeves by some miracle while we're gone, I can try it on. For a larger thing, I do plan on bringing a small crochet hook just in case, you know, drop stitches, etc. Those items, my needles and my cables, I'm just going to slip into the pocket in my project bag. I'm not going to bring any separate little notions bags. I do have a case here. I will show you in just a second. But I plan on putting all my drops yarn into this. I think I'm only going to bring 2 balls of that plus the ball that's being worked right now. I don't want to bring too much, and I think that's way more than enough. I highly doubt I'm going to work on this that much. I think I'm going to end up working mainly on my socks, but just in case, I do have this. So the needles and cables are going in the side pocket. So there's those. This is my own project bag that I made last year for myself. It has Beach Santa on it, which I love so very much. And look, there's water ski Santa. And little reindeer, how cute is that? Yeah, that's just a bag I made for myself last year. So, but okay, so there's a sweater one. And then for notions and other things, I have this notion case, which is a notion case that I hand painted. I stocked these last year for flock and I haven't got around to painting more to restock. I did prep a bunch. I sanded them and got them ready for paint and then just haven't gotten around to painting them. But eventually I will have more of these in my shop. Inside though are a bunch of little cases, like slots with little lids. So in this first spot, I have collapsible scissors, cable stoppers, like at the ends, the little things you screw onto the ends. And then this side has all of my stitch markers. There are more than what I will need for these projects, just because, you know, in case I lose some. And then this side has my light bulb clip marker things. They're like safety pins basically. I have different colors, which these just always live in here. And then I also have little rings in that one spot. So yeah, it's got all the things I will need. Oh, I also have a needle in there. So it has everything I can possibly want. So that will go in my bag with my sweater. And then this little Star Wars bag will hold my socks because, well, it will go perfectly with where we're going. So this, it doesn't have a handle on it, but the drawstring cord fits around my wrist. So I can knit and just have it on my wrist. And the yarn feeds out into my hands while I'm knitting. So that's like the perfect size for this. So that's why I'm bringing that. And then when I'm not using like this ball of yarn, I'll probably just throw it in that bag and I'll only keep like 1 sock in here at a time since I'll have 2 socks going at the same time. So yeah, that's the plan, is to bring the socks and the sweater, and then that's all my notions and needles and all the other things I plan on bringing with as well. That's basically all I have to share today. Nice, quick, simple, showed you my projects, show you what I'm bringing with. Hopefully I get lots of knitting time in. I've flown a couple of times before. I never flew before we got married, and so this is only my 3rd time flying. I mean, technically, it'll be my 5th time flying, but you know, 3rd destination flying. And I've never done it with kids before. So I'm not worried, but like, it's gonna be a new experience. It's gonna be a new experience. The kids are most nervous about the bathroom. And I'm like, it's maybe a 2.5 hour flight at most. You don't need to use the bathroom. Like, if you need to pee, we'll go beforehand. And then if like you get on the plane and you need to pee, well, you can go on the toilet. And if you don't want to, well, then just hold it until we get there. But they're so concerned and freaked out about the idea of a toilet on an airplane, which I get. I won't use it. I will hold it. Thank you very much. That is, I've only ever taken short flights though, so who knows if it's a longer one. I have gotten the kids lots of different things though. We just recently got a new tablet thing on sale. It's like an itty bitty one, and it's really slow and not the best thing in the world, but it's got some movies on it for them. And then I've also bought some activity books, so that way they're not in front of a screen the whole time. I do still need to buy them some crayons though, and like pack a little bag with like pencils and pens and things for them. That way they have hopefully plenty of things to do while they are in the airport, and also on the airplane, and then in our hotel room. Most of the time we will be at the parks, but there is one day where they will be like at the pool and hanging out and probably in a hotel room. So it's kind of making sure they have lots of things to do, as well as me, because I get bored and I don't like being bored. So I know they don't like to be bored either. So it's like balancing all these things and making sure we have room in all the suitcases, plus extra room for souvenirs to come back. So that is it. I will keep rambling on and on and on if I continue to talk, so I will wrap that up there, and hopefully I'll be able to keep up with like Vlogmas and all the other things that will be going through December. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe and all the things, you know, down below.